Hello and welcome to Retrotainment episode 14. Joined again this week by my co-host, capital C, capital O, Greg. How are you doing, boy?
What's happening, homie?
Not too bad. Decided to go back and look at one of the. I suppose I consider it a comedy, but it's also a zombie film. So
to be fair, most zombie movies nowadays are probably comedies.
Yeah, but this one was made. They're comedy because they're so badly done that they're comedic. This is meant to be a comedy, and it's obviously a play on another big film, Dawn of the Dead. So this is Shaun of the Dead. We got the two boys.
Yeah, how they got away with that, I don't know.
Oh, I know, yeah, and
unless George A. Romero gave them the. No, I know he doesn't own the name on the Dead, but
they're also apparently going to do a vampire one as well.
Well, I think James Corden came out with lesbian vampire killers around this time as well, didn't he?
Possibly. What was it? It was going to be called something weird. It was like it used the name Shaun in it as well.
I don't remember hearing a vampire one.
It was going to be called From Dusk Till Shaun.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely 100% getting sued for that one.
I don't think so. I don't think you can really give out too much about it because, you're just using the name and make it like, you might get sued, but they didn't go with it. I if they went with it now, I'd still watch it because
I think
this duo is one of the best comedy duos for stuff like that. I think
they've kind of moved away a little bit though, haven't they? I don't think really Nick Frost is kind of on his own now. Simon Pegg's gone into obviously the Mission Impossible franchise.
Yeah, they've moved away from it, but I'd say if they came back and did a film like that together again,
I'd certainly watch it.
Yeah.
I know Nick Frost done a couple of movies in Ireland over the last while. He was up in Ardmore. He was I think he was living in Bray at the time.
He's gone into kind of a more serious serious role in a way. Like
he's lost a lot of the weight and everything.
Yeah, I think he was in Fighting With My Family, wasn't he?
Nick Frost?
Yeah, he played Paige's dad in Fighting With My Family.
Paige's dad, yeah.
Yeah. He was very good. He was very good.
I was gonna say, is that not Stephen Merchant? But yeah, he plays the girlfriend's dad or something that's pregnant, isn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, no, Nick Frost is definitely her dad. It's still one of my favorite comedy films of all time.
Shaun of the Dead. The Cornetto series is hilarious though when you look at it.
I haven't seen the last of the Cornetto series, and I actually hadn't heard that phrase until you said it to me the other day. So if you want to explain what that is to people.
I generally don't know. I think it's due to the fact that he buys a Cornetto in all of the movies. He actually self-proclaimed it the Cornetto series. So obviously in this one he buys the Cornetto in the shop. Right at the start of the.
He does,
yeah. In Hot Fuzz, when they're sitting in the car, he goes in and buys two Cornettos for him and Nick Frost.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, I haven't seen the last one, at World's End.
At World's End, well, I'm going to assume he buys a Cornetto in that as well then, so.
Yeah. I'm just having a look here and see if I can find what the actual meaning to it is.
I think you're right. I think it is literally just that he buys a Cornetto in all of them. I can't see anything that it could mean anything else other than that. And I do know that he does buy a Cornetto in, obviously, this and in Hot Fuzz.
It's a bigger deal in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, it's a bigger deal in Hot Fuzz because they get a couple of Cornettos.
Yeah. Well, he actually references it, doesn't he?
I think so, yeah.
It's just a
little throw. Yeah, just a little throwaway thing they had, seems. But this film came out on the 29th of March in 2004.
I feel old.
Yeah, so do I. But this is actually one of the highest rated films we've looked at. A critic score on Rotten Tomato with 212 critics had it at 92%, and an audience score of 93%. So
pretty much bang on the money.
Yeah, pretty much bang on with both them. Now, this is one of their first together. So the box office is actually not that good. 30 million in the box office.
Probably didn't cost a lot to make though, because
cost 6.
Yeah, because when you look at it, like when you watch through the movie, the zombies in it, they're not
Yeah,
blood, guts, zombies.
no,
They're
it's
just
pretty much just eyes.
it's contact lenses, yeah.
Yeah, and then a bit of blood on their mouths
Mm.
and stuff.
But like 30
It
million on a start off. Again, like this is like Snatch. I don't think it
yeah,
would have broke big in America because it's an English type of
yeah. It's a very like British, like this side of the like this side of the
yeah
world comedy, like real, sarcastic and stuff
yeah
like
because
that.
I know I'd read a thing that when Simon Pegg got cast in Mission Impossible, there was a lot of people unhappy about it because he was English.
Oh,
And
really?
they'd seen some of the movies and they didn't like the way he acted and whatever. But I thought he slotted into those movies quite well.
Yeah, he's a very good actor. So
yeah,
if you've only seen him in comedies, I suppose then all you can think about is him in comedies, and you can't think of him in a like more seriously action-packed
then
role.
again, you could say the same when Jim Carrey got cast as the Riddler in Batman.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, or when he got cast as the number 23.
I think it's people just getting typecast into a certain role because that's what they became famous for.
Yeah.
And people don't think that they can do anything else. But this film, the film starts where we're just in the pub.
As you do.
An apt start, I suppose. And they're
well,
having a bit of a domestic.
No good story ever starts with a salad. Let's be fair.
No. Well, you don't make friends with salad, Greg. You don't make friends with salad. But they start in the pub having a bit of a domestic.
Yeah. So you get introduced to Liz.
Liz, his significant other, who she's complaining that they never spend any time together alone, and she's like, "It's not that I don't like
Ed.
it's not that I don't like Ed," and then it pans to Ed standing beside him, and she's like, "No offense," and he's just meh. And then,
Ed obviously being Nick Frost.
Nick Frost, yeah, his best friend that he lives with, and she's just like, we're never away from him, and you think that's it. You think, oh, it's just a third wheel situation, and then she's like, and then I always have to bring my two friends, which you don't get on. Like it just exacerbates the problem.
Dylan Moore in this movie was absolutely spot on.
Yeah, he plays the part very well, doesn't
he?
So
good in it.
Yeah, he's so good at just being the
he just makes things worse.
Yeah, he's perfect at being the right type of awkward, but also condescending.
Yeah, and he has the deep Irish accent as well.
Yeah, and she's like, I'd bring these two along, and then he's like, yeah, and it's not that I dislike yous, and then it pans to them, and they're sitting there, and you're like, oh, they really don't really spend any time away from these friends, do they?
Yeah, you need to make changes, Shaun.
Yeah, you need to make changes, Shaun. And he's like, I will, I promise, I'll bring you out for dinner tomorrow.
Gives up the fags.
Well, he doesn't give them up yet. He just promises he'll bring her out for.
Oh no, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Just like I'll bring you out for dinner in that fish place tomorrow.
Yeah, grand. And they have a few more.
Have a couple more scoops.
As you do. Well, the rules are one for the road is not just their last one. The last one is the third last one.
Yeah.
Then there's one more, and then there's one for the road.
Yeah, but we then go back to just the house that the two boys live in.
Yeah.
And we get the quick little montage of him.
He's waking up.
Well, he's like a zombie when he wakes up, and then we get the quick montage of him, which I love, the montage of like really mundane stuff. Brush my teeth, go to the toilet, pour some cereal. Like, why do you need a montage of that? You could just skip all that, and everyone would just assume he's done those things. Like, there's no need to show us that. But they felt
born another 4 minutes into the clock.
It's not. It burns about like
10
seconds. Yeah, like 3 seconds, and then he goes down, and player 2 has entered the game. Do you not have work?
Yeah, brilliant.
Player 2 has left the game.
I don't know what game they were playing, but I've never had a game tell me player 1 and player 2 has entered the game.
It's just some shooting game by the looks of it. But then he steps back over and he has to put on the tie and all. We get another quick montage of him getting dressed for work.
Yeah, and he gets in, so you can see that he works in an electrical store.
Yeah,
by his name.
But he
for electrical or something.
Yeah, we get introduced to his their other roommate, Pete.
Pete's a hero.
No, Pete's a dick.
Pete is a dick.
But Pete is like, you need to tell him to like go out on his own and stuff. And he's like,
fuck off, basically.
He's like, I will. So he goes in and he's like, Ed, you need to on your top left. Reload. And he's like, oh yeah, got him.
I can play myself.
We need you to start helping clean up. Reload. So he reloads, and then nice shot. And he just keeps getting interrupted, and then Pete comes in and he's like, "Will you clean up this place since you're here all day?"
Yeah.
And he's like,
will you take down the messages, everyone else's messages, not just your own?
Yeah, it's just writing down on a little piece of paper, isn't it? It's not that difficult. And then he turns around and there's "I am a prick" all on different sheets of paper.
I'd completely forgotten about this when I rewatched it today.
It's one of the little subtle things that you'd never think of.
Yeah. But how has he not noticed that when he put the suit on?
Yeah, you can presume that, like, did he put it on? Like, did Ed put it on the back of the suit when it was down? But then you're like, no, because surely when you pick it up, you'd notice that on the back. So it has to have been there, but he hasn't left the sofa, and it seems forever. He just stays there all day. So who knows how he did it? And
then you see Sean Penn Simon Pegg turn around and be like,
"Just do it for me."
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and he's like, "Can you get the phone rings?" And Sean's like, "Answer that," and he goes, "You answer it."
Now, what I don't get is Shaun is no more than 2 feet away from the phone.
Yeah, but he's rushing off to work, Greg. And also,
but you could answer the phone. You know what I mean?
You'd think that, but then Ed had also just apologized to him, which we both know means that he's after letting one rip and it smells bad. So he was probably like, I'm going to get out of here. It's like, I'm just going to get out of here.
Yeah, they make a big deal out of it. Sorry, Shaun.
It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry, Shaun.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry. I'll stop doing it when you stop laughing.
It's not funny.
But the message is from Liz just saying, I can't make it for 7, so just ring the restaurant and make sure you move that to 8. And he obviously he hasn't heard the message because he's told Ed
to write it down.
He's told Ed to write it down, and he's just left. So he goes into work, and on his way out, he tells that little kid. He tells him, "I'm going to kill you."
Yeah, the kid with the football.
The kid that accidentally kicks him with kicks the football at him.
Not accidentally. Let's be fair now.
No, well, he mightn't have. We'd seen
he could have killed him.
He could have. It was a dangerous shot, but it mightn't have been on purpose. He could have been kicking it anywhere and just had a bad kick, Greg.
And then you see Pete in the car. He gives the wave to Pete.
Yeah, but then he goes to the shop. Then he gets on the bus, and we kind of hear about something. A space station from the space station crashing down in the wrong spot.
Yeah, over London.
Yeah, and there's just one thing here. When he goes into the shop, we see him. He picks up a Diet Coke in the fridge, and then puts it back and picks up the like a normal bottle of Coke or a normal can of Coke. Yeah, and then he goes up, pays for it, and then he leaves. And then he's on the bus in, and we see a woman at one of the bus stops just collapse. Which kind of leads us into that the whole zombie thing starting to happen. So it's obviously from space.
Subtleness.
Yeah, like it's little things are happening and he's noticing them. He's like, "Oh, what's going on? Why did she collapse?" And you see it a couple of times in the film where he notices stuff happening and nobody else seems to notice anything, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on there?"
But he goes into work and he found out that the manager is sick. And that one of the other girls, who obviously, by the way she's talking, is a supervisor, is sick.
Yeah, and he says, she's feeling a little bit under the weather, which is one of the symptoms. So you're assuming like she's been.
Yeah,
at this point you don't know anything. You think, God, you work in a shop, someone gets sick, happens.
Spreads to another person, happens.
Yeah, but he tells them all to not be under not take personal calls and stuff in that
guy. The guy that's in that, I'm nearly sure the guy that answers the phone. I'm nearly sure he's part of the Renford Rejects.
Is he?
I think so. No, I'm gonna go check that.
But yeah, he
answers. Looks very familiar.
He answers the phone and he's told, don't take personal matters into work. And then Shaun gets a phone call. Or sorry, Shaun gets told his dad is here. And he's like, he's not my dad, he's my stepdad.
Shaun, your dad's here.
He's not my dad. He's my stepdad. And it's Philip, and he's like, remember to come round to the house tomorrow now and bring some flowers.
That you forgot to bring on Mother's Day.
Yeah. And he's like, I will. Yeah, I will. And then your man
Noel.
Your man Noel your man knows, like, what about you? Why are you taking personal stuff? He's like, that was different. It was an emergency. And then he gets, there's a phone call here for you from Liz. So he's like, oh. So she's like,
best timing ever.
Did you get my message to say to move that date? And he's like, yep. Yeah, it's all fine, because he's obviously trying to play it off that this isn't a personal call.
100% didn't listen to anything she said.
Hadn't listened to a word. He just agreed with everything, and that was just Liz from corporate. It's fine. So he's, now she's actually contacted him, and he still hasn't booked this restaurant that he's promised he will book.
Yeah, it's not your man from Rent for Rejects. He was Swill in Green Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
sorry,
yeah,
was doing my head in. Yeah, so he comes in, he gets
back, and he realizes, oh shit, I didn't book that. So he rings up, and they're like, oh, we just gave away the last table. So now he has to ring her and be like, oh, I'm really sorry, there's been a mix up. Will we just go to the Winchester?
He could have played this off better. He could have just said, well, there's no table at 8, so we can't have it.
Yeah, but he's already. See, that's the problem. When she rang him in work, she was like, "Is there any problem with that table being switched?" And he was like, "No, yeah, they said it's fine. Everything's fine."
Yeah.
So
he could have just turned around and said they lied to him.
Yeah, he should have just said they rang me and they were like, "Oh, we actually can't." He could have played it off better, but he's not. He's not really good at that sort of thinking ahead. He just, I'll just say to her, "Let's go to the Winchester."
Yeah. Well, where are you thinking? And then you can see Ed in the background. Winchester. They do food.
Yeah.
He has a grill at the back.
Yeah.
He do you a toasty.
He do you some toasties. But
it doesn't go down well.
Well, no, she dumps him. She's not happy about this, so she dumps him. So him and Ed just go to the Winchester.
Well, no, because after the phone call, he has the flowers for his ma, so he jumps in the thing, goes over to her house.
Yeah.
And you get the next scene with Dylan Moore and go away, Shaun. She doesn't want to see it. She's like, right, I'm coming up. I don't know what floor she's on. He's like, I'm going to climb the wall.
They can't be that far off the ground, though, because you can hear him trying to, and then failing, and then comes back around and he goes...
He rings the doorbell and, hello, it's me again.
Can you just let me in, please? So they let him in, and this is when he promises he'll give up the smoke. Give up smoke and throws them into the bin. And she's just like, no, it's not enough. We're done. We're done.
He's like, yeah, we can stop going to the Winchester and this, that, and he's like, I don't want to be that person that goes to the Winchester for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So then he goes to the Winchester with Ed to drown his sorrows.
And he generally looks upset in this scene.
Yeah, he looks really upset until Ed starts describing who each of the people. He does Clive, which doesn't cheer him up, and then he's like explaining who the people are in the pub. Your man with the snakeskin boots.
This is brilliant. This had to be improvised. There's no way he could write that.
I don't know, yeah, but he's like, your man in the snakeskin boots. Yeah, he's been married a couple of times. He's a real ladies' man. Oh, she's an ex-porn star. She's an ex-porn star. She done the
first interracial threesome.
Yeah, and then your man who owns the pub, he's like, oh, he's connected to the mob. Look, sure, gun above the thing that still works. Trophy wife. And they're having a great laugh here, and it has cheered them up.
Yeah. And you can tell they get plastered.
Yeah, well, they seem to be on a lock-in for a bit, and then we see someone bang on the door, and they're like, "We're closed," and whoever it was outside just kind of, and they're like,
"What you see there is when they're going to the Winchester, there's a girl chomping on." Or, well, what looks like kissing someone in the corner.
No, well, that's when they leave. They leave. This is when they decide they're going
home. Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So it looks like there's a couple, like, kissing around the corner, and then you see your man's head just kind of fall off.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. But
then you can only imagine that that's the person that was knocking on the door.
No, because I think it's a zombie that was knocking on the door. I think it was a zombie knocking on the door to try, come in, but as they're walking along, they're singing. Well, they're singing along, and there's some guy who just keeps putting a random in between whenever they break, and they're like, "You think you could put a bit something else into it, like freeze or something like that."
But it's just so good.
They get home and they just start playing records on the record player, and Pete comes down and he's like, "You two
Electro.
losers, would you ever shut up?" And like Pete's a
I've
dick,
got
you
work
know.
in the morning.
Pete's a dick, but we
Pete's a
see that
dick, all right.
we see a big like plaster on his hand, and he's like, "Oh, someone bit me." When they were trying to mug me, and they're like, "Why did they bite you?" I don't know. I didn't ask them.
Well, you have to wonder how he got mugged when he drove to work.
I know, yeah, and like,
So, I don't know. There's little things that they pick up on. Now, did they mug him on the way to the car? Did they mug him on the way out of the car?
Well, the thing is that it's not actually a mugging. It's obviously just somebody's come over and tried to take a bite out of him, and he doesn't know that
at this
stage. He's calling it a mugging, but they've obviously gotten nothing off him. So
he does say that. Did they get it? No.
No,
he was just a bit bitey.
he just bit me. Probably some crack addict or something.
What else you see in this is when Pete first comes in, he takes the record off and fires it out the window. He's like, "That's the second record I ever bought."
Yeah, that's the second record I ever bought.
Which is stupid chance music. It's electro.
It's electro, and then he calls him a prick he calls him a prick as he goes to walk away. Pete turns around and says something to them.
Yeah, he calls him a thick fuck.
Yeah, they send him to bed, and then under his breath, he tells Shaun, he's like, "Next time I see him, he's dead."
It's genius.
And that's it. That's one thing I like about this is that there's all like they make little references to stuff like this. Like, next time I see him, he's dead, and like that. Shaun says it about the little kid, "I'm going to kill you," and stuff like that. Like, it's just little things like that.
It's like normal life, really.
Yeah, but then it all actually ends up being that way. Like, the next time they do see Pete, he is dead. Or, well, I suppose he's undead, I suppose, but he's not alive.
Theoretically, yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
But, so it all cuts out. He writes, what I like here is you see him writing on the board.
Yeah.
He goes over, he writes stuff on the board, and he falls asleep at the table.
Yeah, and he's like, the stuff he's written on the board is basically just get his girlfriend back. That's it. And visit mum.
Change life.
Yeah. And then change life is the third one. So get your girlfriend back, visit mum, and change life. Those are the three things he needs to do tomorrow. Vital importance.
Pretty good.
But he wakes up the next morning and
he's hanging.
And this is where we see him go and get the cornetto.
Yeah, he gets the can as well.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing.
He gets the can because he can't open it.
Yeah, but this is what I mentioned about the can earlier. The first time we see him go in, he gets the
normal Coke.
He picks up the Diet Coke and then switches it to the normal Coke. This time he walks in and picks up the Coke and then puts it back and picks up a Diet Coke because, he has to change his life. He's changing his life. He's given up the cigs. He's moved on to Diet Coke. He buys a cornetto for Ed because that's what Ed wants. But when he gets back,
hanging.
Yeah, and then when they get back, Ed's like, "There's a girl in the garden."
But the thing here is when they're walking out, so he crosses the road.
Everyone's in bits.
It's the exact same as it was the day before going. But like the guy was cleaning his car, there's a big hole in his windscreen.
Yeah.
He walks into the shop and there's nobody in the shop. He leaves the thing there. He says, "Sorry, Ahmed, I owe you 15p."
Yeah.
And then he was walking back, and the homeless guy he gives money to, and the first one is there, but he is a zombie, and he's going,
walking his dog lead.
He's like, I didn't even have enough for the shop here. I can't help you today. Goes into the house.
And then there's a girl out the back.
What do you mean there's a girl out the back?
So they go out and they're like, "Excuse me, hey." And then Ed throws like a little stone at her and she turns around and they just both start laughing. They're like, "Jeez, she is hammered."
Yeah. She's so drunk.
And then she starts kind of coming towards them.
Yeah. And because Ed's like, "Oh, she's got a liking to you."
And she knocks Shaun down and Ed's like, "Oh, I'll be back in a minute," and runs in to get the camera.
He's like, "Help me."
Help me. He's like, "Wait 1 second." Comes out and takes the picture of them. And then
what I like here is where he's about to take the picture. He's like, "Smile." He turns her head. I like,
yeah. So they take the picture. Then he gets back up and they're kind of like, "All right, listen, I need to do with you." And she comes at him again and he's like, "Listen, if you don't leave me alone,
go away.
Just go away." And he pushes her over and she falls through this metal pipe that's sticking out of the ground in their house, in their back garden.
It's used to hold up a washing line.
I was thinking that too, but it's way too thick for that because like a washing line would be quite, like the pole is normally quite skinny. Like that one's really wide.
You can get different ones, obviously. You get,
I suppose, yeah.
But that's what I always pictured it was for, anyway.
Yeah, It probably is, but it's just kind of there. And she falls on it.
Well, yeah, because
And
it actually does. When you think about it, it leaves like a hole that much in it.
yeah, like it's quite thick, like it's quite big. Like you're kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
But she just gets up off that, no bother to her, and they're like, we go back inside.
We
Yeah.
should go back and say. Then you get the big baldy guy.
They turn around and the big baldy guy is there, and they're just like, just go past him. We go back inside.
It's just so easy.
Shaun tries to ring the police.
999.
999.
999 in England. Yeah.
It's engaged. All right, ring the fire engine then.
It's engaged.
Ring the hospital. It's the same number. And what would you want a fire engine for? Just anything with flashing lights, really.
What I like here is Joe when they're inside.
Are they still there? And he goes,
yeah.
Yeah.
But what I like here is they're flicking through the TV. And
yeah.
if you listen to it, the channel, when they're flicking through the channels,
it tells
the story. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're all obviously telling different things.
Yeah, like, and it's like the first one's a news source, then it's like a football match, then back to the news.
Biting tackle.
Yeah. Then it goes back to a news source, then it goes on to like a nature documentary.
And then it goes on to your man from MTV.
Yeah. And it just keeps switching between news source and then back to that.
And you'll be eaten alive. Yeah. Well, the two cheetahs are catching the deer.
But your man eventually on the news just says, oh, if you hit them in the head or like
decapitate them.
Or no, sorry, someone comes in the door through the front door because they never lock the front door, which Pete is always telling them to do. And Ed smashes him in the head with the ashtray.
They throw the empty cans and the pillows at him.
So he smashes him in the head with the ashtray, and then we hear
just see his head go.
If you destroy the brain or cut off the head, that nullifies them. The news reporter tells us that, and you're like, okay. So that's how you it's all headshots here. That's how you get rid of them.
Headshots is how you usually kill most things.
Yeah, but this time you don't need to it's not a decapitation. Isn't necessary. If you just damage the brain, that'll.
Yeah, because there's a lot of the shots in this that you see them hitting people, and they're just like, how are you dead after that?
Yeah. So then they decide to go out back and deal with the other two, and they're like, right, aim for the head. And
they're throwing the toaster and cans and
they throw loads of stuff that won't do anything. Then they get the records and they go out and they throw a load of them.
They pick the record that Pete had thrown out.
Yeah, and then they go in and get the rest of the records, and he's like, "Don't just throw anything because some of these are quite good." So he's like,
"This is brilliant, though. This is quality." Saying they're flicking through and they're like, "Batman soundtrack."
Throw it. Then flicking through. Oh, that belonged to
Liz.
Well, she dumped you.
But that breaks you on the neck.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Okay, this isn't working. Let's just go get
let's go to the shed. The shed's locked."
Yeah, so
it's always been locked.
Just jumps through the door of the shed, and they get a shovel and a baseball bat.
Cricket bat.
A cricket bat, yeah. And they're just like, right, we'll just smash them.
Yeah. Which one do you want? The girl or the guy? The first one.
First one, so they switch positions.
Yeah. Two tiny pops on the head, and that was that.
Yeah. So then they decide.
Actually, it wasn't because they keep hitting them around the ground. But...
Yeah. So he decides. They get back inside after this, and they're like, right. Shaun's like, right, I'm going to ring Liz. I'm going to ring Mum to see if they're okay. He rings his mum, and she's like, oh, there were some people they've tried to get into the house. They're a bit bitey. One of them bit Philip.
Were you bitten? Yeah. Fucking Philip.
And he's like, were you bitten? And she's like, no. Philip was, though.
Okay.
That's fine. And then Ed is like, was she bitten? No, Philip was. Oh, fine.
Yeah. Nobody likes Philip. Bill Nighy played Philip really well in this.
He did. He does do it very well. But they decide they're making up their plan. So first it's we'll go get Mum and then come back here.
Go get Liz. No, go get Mum. Go get Liz. Come back here and wait for all this to blow over. No,
well, originally it's go get Mum, come back here, and then he's like, no, we need to get Liz as well.
Oh yes, yeah.
And then he's like, come back in. Actually, no, that's no good because
can't bring him back here. It's not safe.
Our windows are a mess. The windows are already smashed up and all. So they decide that in the end, it's take Pete's car, go get Mum, kill Philip.
Yeah, go to Liz's house. Have a cup of tea. Wait for all this to blow over.
But then he doesn't like that because they don't know the exits.
Ed was like, I want to know the exits and I want to be able to smoke.
Yeah. So change your plan again. Take Phil's car, go to Mum's, kill Philip, go get Liz, drive to the Winchester,
Have a pint.
have a pint, and wait for all this to blow over. And each time there's a little montage of the car wheel spinning, going to Liz. Sorry, Phil, conk him on the head.
Yeah.
And each time, the first time they say sorry to him, sorry Philip. Then the next time, sorry Philip. The third time it's just sorry, hit him on the head. But even they've gotten bored of their own head of apologizing to him.
How funny! Each of the different scenes when they're taking the mat out, her face is changing.
Yeah,
and she's eventually laughing at the end. It's coming out of the other one.
She thinks it's the best thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah. The ma was pretty good in this as well.
Yeah. Then they're like, right, we're gonna take Pete's car. So they kind of shout up to Pete. Pete. First of all, why can't we go up there? One, he might still be
angry. He might be dead.
One, he might be dead. And two, he might still be angry at us. Yeah. Oi, prick! He's not there. So they go up, and then, well, he is there. He's just in the shower.
Yeah. Well, they decide he's not there, and
they go up.
And Nick Frost character Ed was like, "Can I drive?" He's like, "I always wanted to drive his car." And piss him off.
So they go get Mum, and as they get there, Nick sees the Jaguar, and he's like, "Oh, that's a lovely looking Jag." It's like, it's Philip's. He won't let you touch it. He's like, "You go in. I'll keep the car running here, and I'll give 3 honks if there's any problem."
The subtle little bit in this though, he's like, he won't let anyone touch it. When I was 12, I put half a Mars bar in the glove box. He chased me around the garden with a bit of wood.
Yeah, but he goes in, and obviously the plan was get Mum, kill Philip. So he goes in, and then he can't kill Philip.
No, this is the mum. This is like an Irish mum. We walk in. Do you want a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Do you want a sandwich? I'm gonna make sandwiches.
Yeah, but he can't kill Philip. So he comes back out, and he's like, "Oh, what happened to killing Philip? It wasn't that easy." Yeah. So we all get in your car. Oh,
are we following news?
And then Ed's like, something happened to our car. You were parked.
What happened? A crane did.
He's like, I suppose we're going to have to get in that Jag now.
We'll have to take the Jag.
So they go to get into the Jag. Ed's obviously driving.
The lookout. Well, Philip, they get attacked here.
They go to get into it, and as Philip goes to get into it, he gets attacked and starts getting bitten even more.
Well, this is where he's like, none of you are driving my
he's
car.
like, none of you are driving it, but he gets attacked and gets bitten quite badly, so he's
on the neck.
Yeah, he's bleeding out. They conk a few of them on the head, and then they're like, Nick, put Mum in the car, or sorry, Ed, put Mum in the car. Then Ed decides he's going to drive, so the two of them are in the back.
I've already adjusted the seat.
Yeah, so then they go off to, they're driving down the road. Ed is
hammering it down the road.
He's hammering it, and your man's like, "It's a 20-mile-an-hour zone." And he's like, "Yeah," and he's flying it in the Jag. He's a good driver, to be fair.
Well, he's no Tyrone now.
No Tyrone, but he is a good driver, to be fair to him. And they get to Liz's house.
No, he hits the guy. He's like, "Look out!"
Yeah.
And then they reverse.
No, well, that
was in Pete's car, actually, wasn't it?
That's in Pete's car on the way to get him, and they're like, he's alive, it's fine.
Yeah.
But they get to Liz's house, and they're like, all right. Shaun is like, buzzes them. He's like, "Let me in." No. So he's like, "Right, I'll climb up." So he's hammering a few of them on the head. He climbs up this time he manages to climb up to wherever they are.
To me, this tells you they're either on the first floor or the second floor.
Yeah, it doesn't take him long. Yeah, it doesn't take him long.
It's funny though, because you just see the cricket back.
Yeah. But they let him in, and he's like, "Listen, I've come to say." They're like, "She doesn't want to see it." And he's like, "Listen, just because you love her," and he's like, "Oh, I don't love her."
Yeah.
And he's just like,
his girlfriend is like,
"Yeah, all right, whatever." But he's just like, "Come on, we need to go. We need to go to the Winchester." And
why would we want to go to the Winchester?
Because it's safe. It's got a gun.
It's got what is it? Big doors, dead bolts. It's got a gun over the thing.
Yeah. And there's
pretty
a bit
safe, pretty logic reason now. To be fair,
there's a bit of an argument about whether they should do it or not. But in the end, they all decide that they'll listen to Shaun and they'll do as he's asked. So they go down, and Shaun starts conking everyone on the head. Tells them all.
This is where they blame him, because It's all your fault. There was only a few of them out there. Now there's many out there.
Yeah,
Loads.
He's like, get a weapon that you can swing at their heads, and then they
Blunt,
go and
blunt instrument, yeah.
none of them hit anyone except him. He hits everyone.
Did you notice what Dylan Moran picks up? He picks up an umbrella.
Yeah, he does.
Genius.
But nobody hits anyone except Shaun here. So they get into the car. They're all crammed in. It's Philip, Shaun in the middle, then
Kate and Daz in the back.
Is it D? And
or is it not Kate? Well, no, yeah, Deirdre and Daz, yeah.
Yeah, it's the two of them. She's sitting on his lap. Then
this is a 1990s school run from most families.
Then the mum and Liz are sitting in the passenger seat, and
Ed's driving.
But now he's decided that they're driving to the Winchester, that he better hit everyone on the way.
Yeah, this is just
not because they're in the way, but like he's driving out of his way to make sure he hits them.
Yeah.
And this is where Philip gets his big scene where he's like, it's not easy.
It's probably his only real thing apart from the shop.
Yeah, he's like, it's not easy raising a son, and I just wanted to. I knew I had to.
When I met you.
Yeah, I needed to push you because you had the ability. You just you weren't motivated, and I thought I could do that for you. It's a very good scene, and then he's like,
heartwarming. This is the heartwarming touch scene.
It is. It's a very, very good scene, and Shaun is just like, pull over the car. So Ed eventually pulls over.
He doesn't just pull over. It's like he slams the handbrake.
Yeah, it's like donuts on the middle of the road.
Yeah,
getting all the other zombies to look at him now because he's made so much noise.
And he's telling his mum, he's like, "Mum, Phil's gone."
No, he's not.
Where is he gone? Get out of the car. Everyone piles out of the car.
Well, they're trying to get out of the car, but Philip still has the child locks on the back doors, so they have to eventually open the doors to let him out, and they leave the rock music playing loud.
They're all standing out there.
There's nothing of the man that you once loved in that car, and he turns it off, and he's like, ah.
This is brilliant.
But
Bill Nye was classed up.
Yeah, then they decide, right, we need to walk to the Winchester now. And he's like, where is it? Just over there.
Yeah, well, so that's like, I know this is English, but that's the most Irish thing you'll hear. Just over there.
Yeah.
How far away is it? It's about 5 miles down the road, but it's just over there. Like.
But he decides, well, you're never taking a shortcut, and he goes to jump over the back fence, which just collapses the second he touches it.
Yeah, he goes to jump. Yeah, brilliant. That's probably the most famous scene from this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just keep going. So they're walking along through the back gardens.
And then
the mum stops and she goes, I think somebody lives here. Somebody I know lives here. So they get to the last garden, and he's like, it's just over this fence here. Wait, are we missing someone? And your 1D is like,
5 of us. There were 6 of us.
There's meant to be 6. I'll go back and get mum. So he goes back and gets the mum. And gets attacked by
a guy.
This guy attacks him.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. He attacks him, and they come back in, and he gets handed one of those big poles that like had the swinging tennis ball on it, and he's like, "Oh yes."
The one where you can't have a tennis player to play with you, so you have the little wrap around.
And he's like,
ball.
"Oh yes." So he starts swinging it, and you're like, "Okay, he's gonna hit him in the head with the big pole." Bounces the ball off his head. No good. And they're like, jab it at him. Oh, right. So he jabs it at him and sticks him into the tree.
But did you notice when he does this, he puts the thing through the other side of the tree?
Yeah, so you can't get it out. And then he's like, right, I'm going to see how many there is. And it's the scene where he just holds the top of this little tiny slide.
It's probably for about a 2-year-old.
And he like stomps up it. Looks over, stomps back down. Okay, there's loads of them.
But then they go through and it cuts out to the next scene, and then your one's describing to them how to do the zombie, and she's going through, show me your zombie noise, gets to Ed, I'll do it on the day. It is the day, it's happening right now. And he's like, all right, you do yours then. And Shaun does a pretty good one. He goes, that's actually pretty good. Who died and made you
the zombies. Oh, actually, that's pretty
But
good.
then we get to the scene where he meets his friend Yvonne that he meets earlier on in the movie.
Oh yeah,
With
they
her
meet,
group of friends,
and they're the exact same people, but just she's a
so you've
girl,
got
he's a guy, and then the significant other is a girl and a
obviously
guy.
you've got in this one you've got Shaun first, and then you've got Liz,
Yeah,
Liz's mum, the two friends, and then Ed at the end.
yeah, and they have
Texting.
the exact same thing, where everyone's
Yeah,
just the exact same except slightly
the
different. Like,
front two are just reversed.
yeah,
But in this is the scene where it really affirms that Dylan in love with Liz when he's like, "Oh yeah, oh you're Liz. How are you, Liz?" They actually broke up.
yeah, he's very quick to point that out. He is very, very
He's
quick.
just such a dick.
He is a dick, but they eventually act like zombies to get to the Winchester,
Now,
and then
in
the front.
that Yvonne is when he says, "Where are you going?" We're going to Winchester, the pub.
Yeah, but they decide they're going to they're at the Winchester, but the front door is locked. And
Yeah,
then
they do their little zombie going across.
Shaun is trying to explain. He's like, we can just go around the back to the back door, and he's the other like Dylan Moran's guy is just like, we'll just throw this through the window, and he's like, no, because then they can get in through the window. And he's like, then he goes to ask Ed, gets a phone call.
It's Noodle again.
Yeah, it's Noodle again, which is actually the guy that works in the shop with him. That's
Noel.
the kid it's Noel from the shop, because the first time he rings him when he's on the sofa, he's like, no, I've only got whatever for myself. And then when Noel gets the phone call in the shop, he's like, no, he said he only has this for himself. So Noel is actually Noodle.
I never actually caught that.
Yeah, I only copped it this time when I was watching it. But
genius.
He rings and he's like, would you get off that fucking phone? Like, you're after getting all the zombies looking at us. So
you always do something stupid and I always stick my neck out for you. This is the big argument scene.
They have the big argument, and then Shaun is like, right, I'll lead them away. So he gets all the zombies to chase him, and they go into...
Well, Dylan Moran has broken the window at this stage.
Yeah, then they go into the pub and he gets them all to leave him alone. Yeah. And then there's a big argument in the pub where he's like, we all listened to Shaun, and all he did was get us to this pub, and now we're stuck here. And
with a broken window, and they're like, you broke the window.
You broke the window. And Ed's just like, does anybody want a drink?
Yeah. As you would. That'd be the first thing you do.
I mean, what else are you going to do? Yeah. But then
like,
Shaun...
all they're pretty safe. And he's like, what are we going to survive on? What kind of food? There's a toasty at the back. We could have pork scratchings.
Yeah, but Shaun shows back up. He's come in through the back door.
He gives them the slip.
Yeah, gives them the slip in through the back door, and then so they're just they're where they want to be. They're in the pub now.
They board up the window with stools.
Yeah, they board everything up, and they just kind of just kind of hanging around in the pub. And then they're like, wait, the street lamps are on. That means we can turn on the telly.
Yeah, it means the power's not gone. It just means the fuses are. And he goes, I'll turn this on.
So he goes to turn on the thing. He notices there's a zombies out
he's flicking the lights and it just turns on. The thing goes up.
Yeah, and he's like oh, turns the light off, pulls it back down, goes back up, and he's like, we have a bit of a problem. And then Ed puts a euro into the
slot machine, or
the little like the
gambling machine.
Gambling machine, like just the fruits machine, and
he
jackpots it, and it starts making loads of noise, so they have to unplug it. And then the barman comes down.
John
comes down, and he's a zombie, and they're like, okay, now we need to deal with this guy. And Don't Stop Me Now comes on by Queen.
Why is this on?
It's on random. I think this is one of the most iconic scenes, or one of the most memorable, where they're going around beating them with the sticks to don't. I still can't hear that song.
The theme of it. Yeah.
I still can't hear that song without thinking of that scene. Like that's part of it for me. Like I just can't help it.
And then it cuts away to Dee and the ma, and they're just sitting there going,
yeah, this is good. But the mother we learned that the mother has been bitten, and that the shotgun, that the gun above the bar does work.
So they take the gun then, because when the thing isn't working, they're like, what do we do? Gets the gun. He's like, 2 seconds. He just runs off again.
They learn that the gun does work, even though they're like, it doesn't work. Oh, it doesn't. But dogs can look up. Now he's wrong, because dogs can't look up, right? Dogs can't look up.
Big Al says dogs
Al,
can't look up.
Dogs can't look up.
Dogs
but
can't look up though.
We see how bad of a shot Shaun is with this. He makes a few good shots, and this is part of where it happens when another throwback to earlier where he's like,
top left.
Top left. So he makes that shot, then reloads, and then he hits one of them in the head. Oh, nice shot, which is again a throwback to what he says to Ed at the start of the
thing
film.
Here though is like he hands it off then, and he's like, quick, you have this, because he realizes there's something wrong.
He goes over to check on his mom, and they discover she's been bitten and she's dying.
So then Ed hands it off to Dylan Moran.
No, well, Ed hands it off to your one D, who then
she hands it off to
Dylan Moran
because she knows first aid.
Yeah, I know first aid, as if that's going to help because the woman dies anyway. Yeah. And then
sad times.
Dylan Moran
rest in peace, Mum.
Dylan Moran turns around and he's like, we have to shoot her. And you know, he is right.
This is one of the funniest scenes.
The thing is, he is right. But I mean,
the man's just lost his
man. Literally about 2 seconds ago, his mum's died. Like, maybe now is not the time to be such a dick.
And the funnier thing is because you can hear him cocky.
Yeah, and then Shaun gets the bottle and points it at his neck. And then
don't point that gun at my mouth.
Then Nick gets the bottle and points it at his neck, and he's like,
"Wait, this isn't helping. It's a bit overrun."
No, he's like, "Don't use the Z word. Yeah, don't use the Z word."
Well, no, because the girlfriend steps in there and she's like, "It's not really fair."
No, but before she even steps in, Shaun is like, "That's my mum," and Ed is just like, "Yeah," just keeps backing him up, and then the girlfriend goes, "This is a bit unfair," and he goes, "Oh," hands her the broken glass bottle and goes and gets another one.
No, he doesn't. He picks up the corkscrew.
And so they have this big Mexican standoff, and then Liz is like, "Okay,
calm down.
I understand what he's saying, even if he is being a twat."
Yeah, but, they like the word twat in this, don't they?
They did. And then unfortunately, the mum does come back as a zombie, and well, Shaun has to shoot her.
Yep, it is what it is.
I mean, you think anyone else would have stepped up and been like it's his mum, like maybe.
Well, Ed didn't want to do it.
Yeah, but you can't miss from there.
You know? True. But Ed also had the only shooting experience because he shot his sister in the leg with an air rifle.
You think anyone else would have stood up and just been like, "I'll just shoot her from point blank here, so you don't have to shoot your own mum." Like,
but what you could have done there was just walked away and let someone shoot her before she even came back to life.
Yeah, that's what Dylan Moran's character wanted to do, but you're just
the double tap.
Yeah, but you're just like, it's a bit much to like ask him to be the one to do it, but he ends up doing it, and then the zombies.
Don't forget, Dylan Moran also said that he was a pacifist and he didn't want to use the gun.
But eventually they're all breaking in, so this is happening, and then Dylan Moran's character decides
they hadn't started breaking in. He's the one that went to move the door. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm not staying here."
Yeah, they're all starting to they're
it's unraveling.
It's starting to go down, and then he's like, "Right, I'm leaving," and they're like, "Don't you dare open that door!"
And then he doesn't. He steps away from the door and
they grab him
out the window.
Now, there's actually a really good scene. Like this must have been where quite a bit of the money went, because when they rip his body open, the guts coming out of him actually looks quite like it's done quite well, I thought.
Yeah, but the one bit I didn't really think was when they're pulling him out and they rip his t-shirt. It's like he puts his hand into his belly button and just pulls it apart.
Yeah,
it would have made more sense if one bit him. Yeah, and then just torn it. But listen, it is what it is.
But then the arms come off, the legs come off, and then she runs out the front door holding his leg to
what I liked about this. What I liked about this was once his stomach got ripped open, he stopped. You know, in some movies you'll hear him screaming. You can see him nearly go limp, and he's kind of like
but
which was a good little touch, because like some movies, like in I think it's the Dawn of the Dead remake, your man's getting ripped apart and he's still screaming.
The thing I don't get is though that his legs and arms come off, right? And then the girlfriend is like, "I'll run out to save him," and you're like, they've ripped his stomach open and his arms and legs have come off. I don't think there's a whole lot of saving left to be done there. Definitely not enough to run out into a horde of zombies with his leg as your weapon.
There's probably not enough of them left to bring back in.
Yeah, so I mean, she's dead. Like they don't say that she's dead, but she ran out there. She is dead.
You don't see anymore.
Yeah, she's dead. And So we see the last three just have to defend themselves now. So they're going to make Molotovs out of the spirits.
Yeah, in the bar.
But as they decide they're going to do this, and Ed is about to throw it, they come in from downstairs where Dylan had been, where the switches were, where Dylan started switching all the switches and making all this.
All whilst in the team to
Yeah.
Don't Stop Me Now by Queen.
Yeah, all the lights flashing around. So they come in and he gets taken down. So he ends up getting bitten.
Yeah.
At this point.
In the neck.
By Pete. What a
fucking
dick.
Pete.
Pete's such a dick. And then Shaun eventually kills Pete.
The funny thing about this is, though, Pete's still naked.
Yeah. Well, you know, he didn't need to put clothes on, Greg, you know?
No, I know that, but like, it's just like, to me, you could have made it a little bit funnier by having him put clothes on.
Yeah, but
especially with what happens later on. But
yeah, but Shaun kills Pete.
Yeah, straight through the eyeball.
Yeah, and then they get in behind the bar and they're like, right,
Ed.
Ed jumps over.
Throw me a cloth.
Throw me a cloth, as if that's gonna fix all these bloody problems. And Ed's like, we can go down into the cellar. And then they set fire to the bar.
A way out to the street.
Yeah, so they set fire to the bar. Ed, where are the rest of the shells? They're up on the bar.
Yeah, this scene here, though, like, why he couldn't just scrape them off. I know they're on fire, but...
Yeah, but he eventually just decides, I'll just leave them there. And then they start... The heat eventually shoots them off and they start pinging around and killing zombies.
They hit everything.
So that's pretty good, I suppose. It was better than his shooting.
It's true.
And they go down into the cellar and they realise they have 2 bullets left. And Shaun's like, I gave up smoking. She's like, well, I've smoked. You left them in the house. She's like, I threw them in the bin. And she's like, it was a stressful day. So they decide they'll have a smoke. And then he's like, you don't want to die single. So she's like, yeah, I suppose.
I can't shoot my flatmate, my best mate, and my girlfriend in the same day.
My flatmate, my best mate, my mother, and my girlfriend in the same day. Yeah. And she's like,
what makes you think I'm taking you back?
Girlfriend, you don't want to die single, do you?
And then, so they realise they have 2 shots left. Ed is like, I don't mind being eaten.
I'll just be eaten. And then, so they're like, they then find the little button thing that allows them to that raise them up. That'll open the hatch.
But just before that, like, they're trying to push it and like their thing. And
they can't open it.
I don't want to be eaten.
Yeah.
I'd like to be shot.
Yeah, I'd actually like to be shot. And then they leave him there with a smoke. And they go
and the
up.
Gun.
Leave him there with a smoke and the gun, and then they rise themselves up.
Bye, Ed. Love you.
There's a horde of zombies there, and you're like, well, what did they expect?
That scene going up, though, where she says, bye, Ed. Love you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye, and then he says, bye, Ed. Love you.
Yay. But they go up, and I don't know what they're expecting, because there was a horde of zombies out there. So where did you think they went?
Yeah.
So they get the horde of zombies.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
They get the horde of zombies and off they go back to. They're on their way back to presumably the flat.
Well, they're just going anywhere, really, aren't they?
They don't really say, but you know they have to be going somewhere, I suppose. And on their way there, we see the army come in. And
they flatten everything.
Just run everyone down. So, you know that the 2 of them have survived. And then Yvonne gets out and she's like, oh, thank God we got here to save you. Is it just the 2 of you is left? And he's like,
yeah.
Yeah. And then we get back to the final.
Well, at least somebody survived.
Yeah. They get back to the final scene of the 2 of them in the house. And he's a zombie again, waking up.
Well, yeah, he's doing his usual. Well, that's most people before coffee, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. He's a zombie as he wakes up, comes down, and they make a plan. We'll get a cup of tea. We'll go down to go down and get dinner somewhere else in a different pub that's not the Winchester.
Yeah, didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. No.
And then they'll have a few drinks there, and then come back here. And she's like, "Right, I go put the kettle on." He's like, "I'm just gonna go out the back for a minute."
I'll go out to the garden for a few minutes. All right, go on then.
But just before he goes out, when they're watching the telly, we see that the zombies can now be, as long as they're chained up, they can be used to do menial tasks, and
because they retained some.
yeah, and we see them, your man Noel pushing the trolleys,
then
them participating in like
Takeshi's
Castle style stuff. Yeah, like that was great. And then he goes out to the shed. Player 2 has entered the game, and he goes to turn up the volume, and we see Ed, and he's like, Ed. So
yeah, it was just this is what I was referring to a few minutes ago when I was saying that he could have had him get dressed. It would have been a nice little touch that knowing they were going to run it that way.
Yeah, but they obviously, like, Pete's a dick, so they didn't want to keep him around anyway.
No. I'm not saying that. Like, I'm saying the way he could have got dressed, because they do menial tasks where they obviously knew they were going to run it.
Oh yeah, I get you. Yeah, but
so like that's what I was saying. It would have been funnier if they had got him dressed.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I think it's just as funny to have him just be the only guy walking around naked. Yeah, that would have been back in the I am a prick.
Yeah,
that would have been good. But yeah, that's where the film ends, with him out playing video games with Ed, who is a zombie but can be left to just play video games in the
top left
in the shed. And him and Liz back together and living in their flat, which is a lot cleaner now. It's a lot cleaner now that Ed's not in there, I suppose.
But that could also have been Pete, though. Let's be fair. Pete lived there too.
It could have been Pete, but I have a feeling it was probably Ed.
I'm going to blame Pete. Pete's a dick.
It seemed to be mainly cigarettes and empty cans. So I have a feeling we know who that was. But yeah, rewatching this film, this is still one of my favorite comedies of all time. Like,
I wouldn't say one of my favorite of all time. It's certainly one of the funnier parody comedies.
I don't know.
In a way, well, I don't know if I can even count it as a parody comedy, because it's just a zombie comedy.
Yeah, I think it's because it's
a parody comedy.
I think it's because it's so different to other comedies, because it is like a parody sort of thing. You don't see too many of them do anything too well.
Well, like you had Scary Movie, which took the piss out of all the comedies, but this was done as a more serious comedy about one movie.
I like Scary Movie as well, but I think if I had to choose between sitting down and watching Scary Movie or watching this, I'd probably sit down and watch this again. Like, this is definitely up there as one of my favorites to watch. Like,
well, like this is where I said there on one of the shows a while back, where I'm not a great fan of English comedies, really.
Yeah.
But this is one that I will sit and watch. Like, I like Hot Fuzz. I know a lot of people didn't like Hot Fuzz.
I love Hot Fuzz as well. Yeah, it's a great film.
No, I will watch Hot Fuzz and I will watch World's End. But there's not many British comedies that I'll say are better than American comedies. But I think this is better than Scary Movies. Now,
yeah,
it might be better than Scary Movie 1. Scary Movie 2 is pretty good.
Yeah,
they go downhill very quickly after that.
Yeah, I think it all just depends on which style of comedy you like, because some people are really into the old English comedy style sort of stuff, and some people just don't like it at all. So I think it does just depend on which one's your cup of tea.
Yeah, well, it is just personal preference, really. But like this is a mainly British comedy. I can see why if it got released in America, it didn't really do too well.
Yeah, and as I said, it was the first of the kind of these two together.
They didn't do too much other than.
Well, they had World's End, Hot Fuzz, Paul, which I didn't see. That's like one about an alien. I didn't see that. They've had a couple of bits together. Paul? I can't remember. I might have seen it, but I don't remember much from it.
Seth Rogen is Paul.
Yeah, I don't remember much from it. If I did see it, I don't think I've seen it.
See, I don't know whether that. I can't remember. I actually just better check that before I say it. I don't know if Paul is their movie or they were just in it.
No, well, that's what I mean. Just when these two are together, I consider it their film when it's just the two of them together, even if neither of them direct it. Like when these two are together, I think they're very, very good.
Yeah, well, it's one of those casts that seem to work. It's now like The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Yeah, like it just works.
You don't tend to see one without the other.
Yeah, and it works when they do get together. You know, they both do very well. Like they buzz off of each other, so like you can kind of get that they're off-screen friends as well, and that comes across, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't know now. I think they had a
Yeah,
fallen
well,
out,
but when
a
when
public
they were
falling out.
making
Yeah,
these
yeah,
films, you could tell that there was that off-screen friendship as well. But
yeah.
yeah, no, like I still love this film.
Well, like for a 2004 movie,
Yeah,
it's
and for what it is, like it's a parody comedy. I think it's one of the
it
best
was.
out there.
I think it's well before its time as well. The way they done the zombies,
Yeah,
like for me, it wasn't overly focused on the zombies being like blood, guts, fallen parts, rotten skin. It was kind of a 28 days later. Now I know they're kind of infecting people, but it was just something simple and
yeah,
effective.
yeah. Just like this was something that came from space and reanimated people.
Yeah,
And they're easy, like they're slow, they're kind of stupid, and they're easy to
but it was
get past. But
that to me was a throwback to the old, like George A. Romero early days of Land of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead kind of zombies, where they
yeah,
were just slow and I thought
yeah,
you literally just step around them. Where you see in the newer movies where they're able to
chasing
run
people
and
down.
climb,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But there was some good touches to older movies in this,
yeah,
in ways like, but this is quality though.
yeah. It's the way they kind of tie everything back to each other. Like as we said, the picking up one can and then picking up the other because he's changing his life.
It's just the
The
subtle little touches.
yeah, it's just stuff that you might not notice the first time you watch it, but like you'll watch it a second time and you'll be like, oh, that's a repeat from something that happened earlier.
Well, as you said there with who Noodle was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like
But
how many times have you watched that? If you only figured that out tonight.
oh yeah, I don't know. Like I've watched this loads of times. It's the first time like maybe I put it together before and just don't remember doing it, but this is definitely the first time I remember actively remembering it. But
Yeah.
that's it for this week. So we'll be back next week on Saturday. We're going to start posting on Saturdays rather than Tuesday nights now. So we will
You got
see
to
you.
keep them weekends free.
Yeah. So this one will be up on Saturday, and then it will be Saturdays going forward from here. So cheers for watching and good luck. Well, it's time for that part of the show that you all love, the advertisements for our sponsors. I know. None of us really like listening to these, but the truth is that we wouldn't be able to bring you this content without them. So let's just get down to it. First off, Wrestling Mania, the top floor of Stephen's Green Shopping Centre. Really good shop for all of your wrestling needs, whether that's DVDs, title belts, pop figurines, other collectibles, t-shirts, and if you like boxing and MMA, he has stuff there for you too. If he doesn't have something that you want, you can ask him. He'll order it in. No problems. Really nice guy, the owner of this shop. So get on down to Wrestling Mania on the top floor of Stephen's Green Shopping Centre. Oh, what's that? A pandemic? Well, that doesn't mean he's closed. Catch him on Facebook. Just send him a message. He'll sort you out. No problems asked. And our other sponsor, Peter Hart Graphics. Now, this guy has done most of, if not all of the graphics for the Dynamo's podcast network. Really good stuff, guys. Seriously, this is top quality stuff, and he doesn't charge a bomb for it, which is the greatest part. If you need any sort of graphic designed, it's Peter Hart Graphics at gmail.com. That's Peter, Peter, Hart, Harte, graphics, graphics at gmail.com. This guy is the easiest person I've ever worked with when it comes to making a graphic. You give him your ideas, he'll come back with something similar to what you wanted. And then if it might be exactly what you want, and if it's not, he is so open to criticism and tweaks, and he'll be back to you as soon as you give him what you want updated on that. This is easy stuff to get done. But actually, if you try to do it yourself, you'd realize just how difficult it is to make it look smooth and clean. Not a problem with Peter Hart Graphics. Check out his stuff on his Facebook page, Peter Hart Graphics.